The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 313 of the Spanish Announce Table. Tom, pro wrestling, again, it's always crazy, right? And we're going to get into a lot of that. We've got AEW Dynamite to talk about. We've got TLC coming up. We're going to make some predictions. And all along the way, we're going to talk to some fans out there. We're going to get some thoughts about what you guys thought by using Tweet the Table, sending in some emails.
Hashtag
and we're just going to go
table.
crazy. Yeah, hashtag Tweet the Table. We're going to go crazy tonight, if I had to guess. But what's up with you, Tom?
Not a lot, man. Actually, the thing of note from me for this week is I got one early Christmas gift. My wife got me a nice collage artwork done from MMAhistory.com of a bunch of MMA fighters from the start of UFC to kind of modern day. You'll see some Conor McGregor, Brock Lesnar in there, Ken Shamrock for the wrestling fans. Yeah, pretty nice.
Hold that up close. Hold that up close. Hold that up close. Is there a? I'm not seeing any Anthony Sharkbait Gutierrez.
Well, he didn't fight in the UFC. He fought in Ultimate Fighter, but he did not fight in the UFC proper.
Then put it back up. Let's put it back up. Where's the James Krause hat?
Yeah, he didn't make it, which sucks. But you know what? You got some great ones in here.
Well, hold on. The James Krause?
But you got some great ones in here. You got Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, BJ Penn, Ken Shamrock, as I mentioned, Hoist Gracie. You got, if you remember from UFC 1, you got Art Jimerson, who fought with one glove on because he thought that would be smart because he was a boxer. He's like, a guy can jab with one hand and then stop grappling from the other. He tapped just from being mounted. Nothing even happened. Hoist Gracie just got into the mount position. He's like, I don't like this, and tapped. It was funny. You got some Randy Couture. Got Daniel Cormier, Rampage Jackson, the Diaz brothers, a ton of good stuff. But MMAhistory.com, go there, check out all the artwork. There's an updated version of this with more current fighters, but I love it. So I got an early Christmas gift. What about you, Tim?
Cool.
What's new with you?
I'm just hanging out on the beach.
Yeah. Oh, but that looks very familiar. I feel like that could be a historic beachfront that you're hanging out on.
I hopped in the Spanish Announce Time Machine, which, by the way, if you have not been joining me on my journeys in the Spanish Announce Time Machine, check us out on the YouTube or on TikTok. Each day I've been going back and hopping in our Spanish Announce Time Machine and finding out what happened on this day. Man, we need them sound clips back sometimes, right? A little on this day.
I see clearly. But yeah.
I could add it in post. Add it in post and nobody would be the wiser. Nobody would be the wiser, but then I'd have to do more work, and you guys aren't paying us yet. More on that later. But hop in the Spanish Announce Time Machine. Follow us on the TikTok at Spanish Announce Table, the YouTube, which I hope you're watching this episode right now, is the Spanish Announce Tube on YouTube. But we hop in there and we see what happened. Right now, I'm there. I took a big. This is 1990-something. I forget.
1996.
I don't know. There's going to be a 3-on-3 wrestling match later. We don't know who the sixth participant is, apparently. So
it's still wild that Lex Luger got injured in that match, right? That's the.
Yeah.
I still feel like Savage and Sting should have been like, "You're a bitch, man." Like, we wouldn't have been in that situation if you didn't get injured. What the hell?
They didn't use that in the storyline, even though they could have. They could have just rolled that into the storyline, but they just kind of glanced it off like it never happened.
Yeah.
And they could have used that. I mean, and shit happens. Like, you get injured. I forget what happened. Was it a concussion situation or what happened?
Yeah. He hit his head, and so they took him out on a stretcher, and so then it was 2-on-2, and then Hogan came out, and then for some reason, looking back, you're like, well, why would he come out? But then he ends up being the third man. The other thing is that match didn't have a finish. They just threw the ref out, and then I think it was Scott Hall counted 1, 2, 3 when Hogan pinned Savage, and then Mean Gene got in there, all the trash. That was the start of the trash era, I call it, where just everyone got excited or mad, just started throwing stuff.
Yeah,
it was crazy. By the way, before we get into this week in pro wrestling, something new to the network, WWE Network, is Goldberg's streak, the untold history of Goldberg's streak.
You told me it was good.
It was very good. Nothing earth-shattering. I don't think you're going to come across or, leave it thinking, oh my God, I never knew. It's kind of standard protocol. It was just good to hear from different perspectives. Kevin Nash is in there. You can tell he doesn't give a shit about Goldberg. He says he likes him. That's debatable.
Kevin Nash, yeah, he's the...
Yeah. And Goldberg...
He doesn't hide his emotions well.
You're right. And Goldberg also let his emotions be known about the decision to have Kevin Nash beat him and that. So it was really cool. But where I was going with that is, obviously Bash at the Beach, the ring was filled at the end of the event with trash from everything because of Hogan's heel turn. But if you fast forward to when Goldberg beats Hogan, people are starting to throw stuff when Hogan's like up in the jackhammer, like right when Goldberg throws him up. People, why were we just throwing things at people during that time period?
In ECW, they threw chairs into the ring.
That was because they were asked to, right? Terry Funk and Mick Foley were like, throw your fucking chairs. And they're like, all right, fuck yeah, this is cool. But WCW specifically was just the king of just like, I'm excited. There goes toilet paper.
One of the coolest things, and of course at the time, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall captured what it was to be cool in pro wrestling. They were the coolest guys in the room. Everybody wanted to be like them. Mm-hmm. But it's cemented it in for me when trash is going crazy, and I see Kevin Nash, he like does, he perks up and he like points, and there's something like comes flying in the ring. It's like a cup. I think it's like a Street Profits cup, and he literally just swats it right back out of the ring, and he just like points back at the person. He's like flexing on him, and I was just like, yeah, Kevin Nash is the coolest.
Yeah, it was great. But check it out on the network, WWE's Untold History of the Goldberg Streak. There was some debatable facts in there. I guess Goldberg said he wanted to actually be tased. I don't know if that's true. It's easy to say that now, 20 years ago, but anyhow.
I've got a WWE Network tip if you have the network. If not, you can get it for free, apparently. I don't know if this is on the free one, but I don't know if we talked about this, but I watched the Paul Bearer documentary on the network.
Yeah, that's really good, too.
Amazing. That is one of the most amazing pieces of stuff they've put out there, man. That was a tearjerker.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know the inner working details of the end of his career, why he was because he came back at WrestleMania 20 with Undertaker, but apparently, because of his health concerns, he couldn't do the day in, day out responsibilities. But back then, 2004, I think that is, I was just like, oh, he's just kind of in and out, which I was 17 at the time, 18, something like that. So I was just like, oh, it's fine. Whatever. I don't care. Like I didn't need Paul Bearer. But I didn't understand how bad the end of his life was.
It was so unique. Like I didn't know like the whole. I knew he was Percy Pringle before, but I didn't have exposure to what that meant, and I didn't know he was so big of a deal before he got there, and it was such a switch, and then his ties to actually being a mortician. Like how neat is that, right? So, and just amazing story. Well done, very well told.
Well, and I think that also speaks to something about WWE or WWF back then of how they wrote things. It feels, and we can go a little bit of a deep dive if you want, but it feels like now.
Hey, we own this podcast. We can do that.
That is true. We do what we want. But it feels like now WWE does, hey, Tim, tell me about yourself. And then you say, I'm X, right? I was a former biker, or I was a this. And then they go, cool. You're going to be biker, and we'll just fit that into our stories. Where back then it was, hey, we need the $1 million man. Who can be the $1 million man? Okay, let's do Ted DiBiase. Then we need Paul Bearer. We need something, or we need someone to be with the Undertaker.
Yeah, we need a mortician. We need a fucking, right.
Right. And it felt like back then they had more concrete ideas of here's the characters that we want to write for. And so then the writers, even though back then it was mainly just McMahon, Patterson, and maybe Briscoe or, Pritchard, right? Giving out storylines, but it was like, this is what we want, and we're going to tell the wrestlers what to do. Now it feels like
that's what a solid writing team is. It's 4 to 5 folks. You know what I mean? That
but
throw
now
ideas
it feels like in reverse, where it's, hey, okay, cool, that's you. Let's work around you, and you're like, but the writers have no fucking perspective of
Colt Cabana, perfect example for that. because he is everything that he is in person on character. But everywhere he goes, what does it wind up? The shit he's named his shows after, creative has nothing for you.
Right.
Because you're not a character, you're just a dude.
But they don't even know what to do. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, they see Aleister Black, and instead of saying Aleister Black is going to be, or Tommy End on the independents, because I know some independent wrestling, but, hey, Tommy End, this is who you are? Okay, so we're just going to change your name, but then just turn up what you are. And it's like, well, what are you? And I don't know. And they don't know either.
Dean Ambrose is a great idea. First of all, what kind of weird-ass name is Dean Ambrose that they came up with, right? He was John Moxley everywhere he went. That's what everybody who had heard of him knew. If you're going to bring him in because you're like, well, the rights and all that shit, we'd have to, pay him whatever, we're greedy. Well, like, you still didn't even come up with anything close or similar. You just gave most generic office and, salesman name. And then expected everybody to just get behind this guy. And then, like he said, you just ran him in and out, and you're like, no, this is your role. You're the quirky comedy guy. And he couldn't do anything but, there's nothing. What was that character ever supposed to do? The Shield is the only thing that ever gave it any of its cred, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, it's just, I feel like if you watch that Paul Bearer documentary, the thing that I came across leaving with was, awesome story. He seemed like a great man, things of that nature. But also it was just a different era where the WWE had the ideas instead of, well, let's just try to make whatever you are work, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Another neat story is that like him and Michael Hayes were just like buddies, like going to shows before they broke into the business. Yeah,
that was crazy. That was cool. Hey, so let's get into AEW. So before we jump into this week's AEW episode, as always, Tim, high-level overview of the episode. What'd you think? What'd you come away leaving with? Any lasting thoughts? Any memories?
I would say that this was probably one of the least ones that'll ever stick out to me, right? I would say this was a C+, maybe. If we're grading it, maybe we get to that later. Spoiler. I don't. Nothing was crazy about this one, right? And again, we're not hitting home runs every night, right? So I didn't think anything was bad.
I thought a lot of the same things that you did there, where nothing's gonna go, I need to rewatch what happened, but in a great story, you need some time to tell the story, right? We can't just do moment and moment and moment and moment. Even when I would do my T-Mac story time, I would say, okay, and then we're going to do X, and he'll for a couple weeks do this, right? Well, we're in that. Kenny Omega is the champion, and we need him to establish himself as a heel. But we can't just get to the next moment. We have to do these weeks of he's the heel. See how he's the heel? Now he's doing commentary over his match. Now he's, giving the cold shoulder to other AEW wrestlers, things like that. So I thought it was a good episode to establish what we're doing it for in the future. So let's get into it here. I will also say the other thing that was important, because I don't want to downplay it, because we talked it up when it happened to John Moxley, and we'll get to it obviously in the episode, but congratulations to Cody and Brandy Rhodes expecting their first child. So that was something of note. But let's get into the AEW recap, as we do on the greatest podcast recorded on a Thursday night. AEW
Pro Wrestling's best podcast.
Pro Wrestling. I'm going even more than that. I'm saying we are the best podcast recorded on Thursday night. I don't care what genre. History, whatever.
Yeah, we're Pro Wrestling's best podcast. We are also the best podcast recorded on a Thursday night.
Ding. There you go.
Period. I mean, that's an all-inclusive sentence. Mm-hmm. Broad by nature. You deal with that. You take with that what you will, and we're going to show you why by digging into AEW here.
So let's do it.
You like that transition?
I loved it.
I'm good.
I loved it.
Hire Tim. Hashtag
yes.
Hire Tim.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. Feed the needy. Let's get to the first match. It was Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order taking on Matt Hardy and the Private Party, Hardy Party, or Party Hardy. I think they should be party hardy and just be like some drunks all the time, like just leaving the party, like, oh, fuck, we partied too hard.
Yeah, not hardy party hardy.
Yeah, they're just, oh, shit.
Party hardy could be fun. If they went cheesy, almost like 3-man band with it, like, that would be more fun than anything I've seen out of this already.
So far. So, speaking of cheesy, though, Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page walk out. And, Tim, do you remember the time when we thought the Dark Order was this dark, menacing group that was going to take over the wrestling landscape?
Now it's because it should be on the dark match.
Yeah. Now they have the Kurt Angle cowboy hats and are trying to get that over. Hey, and again, that's fine. I get it. I still hope, as I said last week, my hope, and this is why I'm not shitting on this 100%, is that, while the cat's away, the mice will play. And this is the Dark Order disobeying Brody Lee. And then when Brody Lee comes back, it's everyone's getting in line. That's my hope.
Great, because the issue is we've flip-flopping is one thing, but we've established a repetitive, we don't know what's going on with the Dark Order. It's too soon, it's too often, right? Where they're joking around. Oh, they're dark and mysterious. Oh, everybody beats up on them. Oh, nobody can stop them. Oh, who the fuck are these guys now? Yeah. And now here we've got this other iteration. And I didn't I didn't like anybody but Hangman Adam Page in this scenario. So this one was a miss for me. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a miss for me as well. It felt like where Hangman Adam Page, I feel, is a top mid-carder to main event level player. The rest of the people in here were the start of the show kind of guys. And so it made almost Adam Page seem bigger than the story. But Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page ends up losing because Matt Hardy gets the victory as he pins Alex Reynolds. Matt Hardy doing a little bit of a heel gimmick here where he tags himself in, then he makes the 1, 2, 3. The private party guys look at each other as if to say, like, what the hell is Matt Hardy doing? Okay. Again, like you said, they haven't really done too much, so at least it's something. I will just say this. It's been about a cup of coffee since Matt Hardy's been in AEW, and he's done 37 characters.
Yeah.
That's my thing. What are we doing with
I get that's the Matt Hardy thing. Like, I get that's the Matt Hardy thing. He is the character equivalent of what the FTR name is supposed to mean in AEW, where, like, it can mean anything we fucking want it to be. Which, okay. But, like, again, why is, like, he then not joking around with the Dark Order? Why is, like I said, it should be Dustin Runnels should be leading that thing if it's dark and mysterious. And if it's not, if it's goofy and comedy, hell, he could even do that too. Matt Hardy should be in there. Like, it would be way better. But then anything these guys are really kind of doing right now, I don't understand this Matt Hardy private party thing. It's not working for me. I want them to end it somehow. I want there to be the dissension. I want them to be like, all right, we're getting out. Maybe they turn heel off of it, beat him up, and we go, oh, poor Matt Hardy.
Yeah. Very similar to Dustin Rhodes, and this is not an indictment on Matt Hardy or Dustin Rhodes. I like both guys fine. I think they're good. But
yeah, they're fine.
But
they're fine.
But here's the thing. If your flagship program only has 2 hours, in my opinion, Matt Hardy and Dustin Rhodes are not appointment viewing television, so they should not be taking up the time when we have Sonny Kiss or Sean Spears or Scorpio Sky not on the program. You know what I'm saying? If it was 3 hours like how Raw is, fine. Put Matt Hardy in there, put Dustin Rhodes in there, because 3 hours is a shit ton of time and we need some good content, which they provide. But they're not the future of this company. So if you're only going to have 2 hours, which they do right now with Dynamite, let's invest into the future and put these guys that I want to see, guys and girls, because, again, you can do 2 women's matches in a program. Didn't know if you knew this, AEW, but you totally can. let's put Matt Hardy and Dustin Rhodes on AEW Dark, have them do their fun stories there to where it's like, oh, okay, I'll invest in that on my own time. But the 2 hours, the prime time television, goes to main event players or the future, not these, hey, this is year 27, just trying to get to year 28, brother. Like, we're done. Sorry. So anyhow, I did ask, before we move on to the next match, did you have something while I try to find this poll to fill time?
Yeah, well, I just got a text, peeking behind the curtain here. I got a text from my wife who's out of the house right now. And she's got a picture of a dog here. And she says, I'm bringing this dog home. I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah, puppies!
And I said, okay, then I'll believe it when I see it. And she said, no, I'm actually serious. So I may be getting
a
new dog.
Early Christmas present. We're both getting Christmas presents. Yay! I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Hey, if it comes in while we're recording, grab that puppy and let's get some screen time. I want to see it. We need the views. You know what gets views on YouTube?
Puppies.
Yep.
Puppies.
Both kind of puppies get views on
Jerry
YouTube.
Lawler puppies and these
actual puppies.
I mean, it's a cute looking dog.
I love it.
I'm not going to lie. It's a cute
I
looking
love
dog.
it. Love it. All right, so let's get back to our
More to
AEW recap. Love it. Yeah, more to follow. I am anxiously waiting.
Dogcast.
Yeah, there you go. Do that hashtag. Like it. Write that down. Make that the title of the episode. Dogcast. All right, so I did ask, should Adam Page join the Dark Order? Asked this on our Twitter at Table Show. Came back 67% of the vote. Came back no. So do you agree? Should Hangman Adam Page join the Dark Order?
You wavered a little bit in my ear there. What was the grade?
67% of the vote said no.
No, he shouldn't.
I agree.
At all.
All right, so now let's move on. And as I mentioned, Cody Rhodes had a big announcement, very personal message. It was announced on AEW Dynamite that he and Brandi Rhodes are expecting their first child. They did this in a very cute way, unwrapping a gift, said that Pharaoh is going to be on security duty, which I thought was cute. I thought the messaging of this was very on brand for the Rhodes family, and it wasn't too overdone. Cody does get a little bit of the, man, your theatrics for just random Dynamite matches a tad much, and I get that criticism, but he is also the face of the company, whether we like that or not. He really is. And I think it's important to say, hey, coming up soon, we're going to be making some changes to my character and hers, so here's why. So I thought it was very appropriate that they announced it during Dynamite.
And we may disappear for a few, you know what I mean, for a little bit, right?
Instantly after this announcement,
which is interesting. I mean, that's going to do that. Like, he will be probably gone from TV for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, as he should be.
Which will be good. Which will be a good, you know what I mean? It'll be a good moment in the time of the company, too. Like, he'll have been a couple years deep into being this face of the company, carrying literally the network's name on his fucking shoulder and around his, in front of his dick. You know? It's a dick cover, right?
Here's
the title belts, right? Can we be honest about that, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's where they go. So here's my thoughts about the announcement, though. Twofold. One, I want to know, just out of curiosity, when they found out, because if you go back a week, you had Brandi Rhodes throw water in Shaq's face, alluding to a match with her and Jade Cargill that Shaq was going to show up to. Now, I would assume, because she is pregnant, those plans go out the window, right? So now what does Shaq do if he's going to do anything with AEW? What does Jade Cargill do now that she can't beat up on Brandi Rhodes? And then what does Brandi Rhodes do when obviously she should not be getting physical, but where does that story go? Does someone replace her? A Red Velvet maybe comes into the picture and says, I'll fight on your behalf? That's going to be interesting for me.
This has got to go the way of, I mean, Shaq's got to wrestle now, right? Like,
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if it was intended for Shaq does a run in or separates the girls during the match because it goes, outside, spills to the outside and he separates the girls to get them back in. Yeah, something like that.
Maybe a wardrobe malfunction happens and it goes viral. And
something like that. But now, because Brandy Rhodes is going to be stopping all, physical activity in the ring, do we call an audible and say, hey, Shaq, for another, $75,000, will you wrestle Cody?
Yeah.
Shaq,
you can come work out with us. We'll get you in game shape. We'll make it real easy.
Or do we just say, hey, in a year and a half's time, if we're still doing business together, let's revisit this then?
Well, because it would be perfect. She's finally back. Shaq shows up. They're all like, oh, congrats on the baby. Blah, blah. And he makes another little snide joke. And then they're like, hey, God damn it, dude. This is enough now, right? You did this 3 times, right? What the fuck? And
if any company would do long-term story booking or storytelling like this, it would be AEW. They
Shaq
do really
seems
good.
To be game.
Yeah, and they do really good.
Now.
And they do really good foreshadowing to the end of the show of, hey, remember that, Ray Phoenix didn't lose in the tournament? Well, he deserves a title shot, things like that. So I could see that, but I'm curious, just natural curiosity of when they found out, because why would you shoot that last week and say Brandy's going to throw water in Shaq's face if she was pregnant? So that was just my own curiosity. They had to have found out this
week. They probably had to have found out this week. And I'm kind of wondering if they might not have been trying then. Because
so a lot of interesting questions that are none of our business, but it is just curiosity.
I'm gonna call him up right now.
Yeah,
Live on the show. We're gonna call Cody. You want me to call him?
Hey, see if they'll do Cinco Preguntas. Yeah. Hey, after that we had Cody Rhodes in action taking on Angelico. This was a good match. I liked how Cody bit the bottom rope to get the rope break. I thought that was pretty interesting. That was a cool way of I have no way else to get out of this than to bite that son of a bitch.
Right.
So I like that. The match was what it was. Obviously, Cody gets the victory because he should. And
did he dominate him?
No, he didn't necessarily dominate him. He got caught in the submission, that whirly bird leg lock of Angelico's that I like, but I don't exactly know what it is.
I guess nobody can dominate TH2, huh?
Oh, let's talk about that. Huh? Jack Evans saying you can't be dominated? That's 2 weeks in a row, pal. Huh, pal? That's 2 weeks in a row. I call falsehood on your tweets, and I say you're a scoundrel.
A scoundrel. Hashtag scoundrel.
So for those of you who do not know what we're talking about, you should be following us on Twitter at Table Show. We did a clip last week talking about how the Young Bucks should have been more dominant over TH2. One of the members of TH2, Jack Evans, says no one can dominate TH2. Well, sir, with all due respect and hopes that this does not get physical or ugly, Cody proved our point, friend. So, your response, Jack Evans.
Yes. Follow us on the Twitter at Table Show. We can't brand it like the rest of everything with the Spanish announcing because apparently Twitter's got a very short character limit on the names. You really can't get past Spanish announce, and then there's some posers out there. But at Table Show, because I get it, it's hard to watch an hour and a half podcast on the YouTube. So you're most likely to listen to the audio version because you can do that while you're at work, which is great. Do that. You can go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net, click the podcast link, subscribe there. But if you follow us on Twitter, we will randomly put out the clips from this show, right? This will be a short couple-minute clip, and then you can catch some of that. And that still helps us out too, right? We like that. We like seeing those YouTube views and those likes and do all that. And then you can join the club and join the Table Nation and use hashtag #TweetTheTable. And more on that later, but you can join the conversation, and you can even have your name read on the show. We have all kinds of fun here. But, Tom, you were saying.
Well, let's get right into it real quick because I do want to make a mention of this. Again, we're very proud of our Twitter following, our Twitter interactions. We had a few high-profile people liking some tweets. And not to name drop, but we're going to. We had Sting. We had Cody. We had Jack Evans call us out, which again, sir, your response is waiting. We had the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Hoyt. We had FTR. We had some interactions with some AEW top talent, and so we thank them for the interactions. And again, as Tim mentioned, you can interact with us and also get your name read with any of your wrestling thoughts using hashtag #TweetTheTable.
Yeah, it is cool that they interact because that is it provides us a couple extra eyes, and we got some new subscribers. So if you're finding this a new show, welcome. We are the most interactive podcast in pro wrestling history. We are rebuilding our community, so welcome to the show. But let's get into the Cody's going to win this every time. Cody's going to win this every time.
So Cody gets the win, and post-match, Team Taz comes out, sarcastically congratulates Cody on the victory. It looks to be that Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, and Taz's son Hook is going to walk to the ring and kick his ass, and then the snow hits. The lights go out. We get the winter season coming upon AEW, and Sting walks out. What were your thoughts when Sting walks out and Team Taz retreats? What did you think of that?
I like Will Hobbs going, going to fight, and they had to pull him back. And that one wasn't hey, you guys are supposed to pull me back now. This was, he started walking, they reached out, and they're like, no. And Will Hobbs looked ready to throw hands. And I wish they would have let him. This felt like, hey, we can advertise Sting on the show. People buy tickets, and Sting was on the show. And he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything.
I wanted a little bit more. My favorite moment post-match of this segment was Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, walking to Sting saying, hey, I don't give a shit what kind of face paint you have on. I don't give a shit that you got a baseball bat. I'm Powerhouse Hobbs. Hit me with that baseball bat, and guess what? The baseball bat will break. I am a powerhouse. And then Team Taz saying, no, we want to save you for when the time's right. I will say this, though. The first time around this happened, I totally get it from Team Taz's perspective. Sting walks out. Hey, we don't know what side he's on, so let's not shoot ourselves in the foot. But
holy shit, right? It's Sting. It's an icon of pro wrestling, right? Yeah.
But you also don't want to shoot yourself in the foot because he could be on your side. Speaking in kayfabe here, right? So you want to say hey, if Sting wants to go in there and beat up Cody and Darby Allin for us, by all means, go ahead, sir. Right?
Yeah.
So I get the first week of retreating to see where are the cards going to lie with Sting and AEW. Now we kind of understand, right? We saw the promo that he did with Tony Schiavone as Tony Schiavone left the ring. Then he puts his arm around Cody, kind of jabs at him a little bit, but all is well in the world of Sting and being a babyface. So now in the third week, like Powerhouse Hobbs did, you got to step to this motherfucker and you got to say no, we're kicking your ass. And again, you have Brian Cage, an action figure come to life. You have Powerhouse Hobbs that looks like a Coke machine with legs and arms. You got Ricky Starks who can kick anyone's ass. And then you got Taz who also in his own right can still throw them hands. So go after Sting now. Let's get to it.
Here's the thing, yeah. So you guys were prepared to go in the ring and beat down Cody Rhodes,
who's in the prime of his career and in shape.
Right. We're ready to go do it. Knowing, too, that he's got, family, literally, and friends back there waiting in moments' notice to come out and help him. But Sting, you're all going to cower away. You guys would stomp a mud hole in this guy. If you had a baseball bat, if you had a gang of folks in any city, anywhere in the United States or in cities across the globe that, were big dudes like that, one guy with a baseball bat in a normal setting, like you said, outside of something bizarre, here's, all of a sudden it's snowing, you're not going to be scared of this guy. You're just going to go beat him up and take his bat and beat him with it. So what? Yeah. I don't know what you do in that situation. I go beat him.
Well, you sacrifice Hook and you say, hey, you got to earn your stripes. You're getting this ass whooping. And as Sting is hitting him with the baseball bat, then the rest of you jump him and then you all beat him up. And then at the end, you
Ricky
say, Hook,
Starks because he's the pretty boy, right? The big
one
guys
of them. One of the two.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Throw one of them in there.
But it's Hook.
Yeah,
well, Hook is Taz's kid, though.
Yeah, you still got to make him earn his stripes. Yeah, no, you got to make him. No,
well,
it's gonna be Hook.
Taz can throw Hook. Nobody
Right.
else can throw Hook. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Taz is the leader. So Taz throws Hook in there, says, hey, kid, earn your stripes. He gets the ass whooping. The rest of them beat him up. And then at the very end.
Hook has played this like it should have been Hook doing that. Should have been Hook going up to Sting. Like,
Hook is believable. I like him. But I think, after you get the beat down, then you let Hook get 2 kicks into Sting's head, and then you run off and you take his wallet. That's how you do it. That's how I did it.
Smears face paint on the way out.
Just try to
smear it.
just try to take any money that he has on him, kick him in the head.
Smear it and then like wipe it on his back. Like just.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. Hey, so then let's go on to what was the next segment. And this was I was a little indifferent on.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that?
I said I'm mean. I'm brutal.
I was gonna rob him, so I don't know if you were that mean. You were just gonna mess
you do
up.
that too, but then like just on the way out too, just a little insult to injury.
So another guy who may rob someone after beating their ass, Eddie Kingston came out to address his enemies. Eddie Kingston first calling out God, which I thought was interesting in this promo. I like that. I'm still
Eddie
here.
Kingston's ready to fight anyone. He's ready to fight anyone at any time.
I just felt like that was a little bit like, hey, man, I totally get it, but let's all pause here. Do you need to talk to a real therapist?
Eddie Kingston is trying to fight for the richest prizes in the world, and as far as I know, that's
Eternal
the guy
life?
that's got him. That's the guy that's got the keys.
Life?
Guy's got the keys, man. I'm trying to get him.
Oh, man. So he calls out God, which I found was interesting. And then he goes to call out Pac, saying Pac injured his neck. He ain't going to be here for a while. And before he could even get to his next enemy, Lance Hoyt comes out and he says, I am not talking. We're fighting. So they just start fighting. Bob, bob, bob. Fist, fist, fist. Punches, 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 right? Then Butcher and the Blade come out and they're like, hey, you're not beating up our pal. We're going to beat you up.
Don't do that.
So they start beating him up. Then the Lucha Bros go like, hey, we don't fucking like Eddie Kingston, and he didn't even get to us. We're his enemies too, so fuck that guy. So they walk in, and then now they're starting to fight with Butcher and the Blade. And then when it's 3-on-3 and you're thinking, okay, we're going to get a good old, comeuppance for all these guys, then Pac comes out and goes, hey, remember me, motherfuckers? My neck ain't that bad. I'm going to fuck you up. And then Eddie Kingston gets beat up by both Lance and Pac, which this was where I wanted your opinion on. I actually started feeling bad for Eddie Kingston. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I agree with you. I mean, we like Eddie Kingston to begin with, so I think we're kind of always rooting for that guy. But yes. I mean, this was all good. I'm still perplexed by this Lance Archer. You know what I mean? Like, this is.
Oh, I kept on calling him Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer. I apologize. Yeah, same thing.
Yes. Well, his Twitter is still at Lance Hoyt, by the way.
Yeah.
Which was
that's
interesting.
which he liked our tweet. So there you go. That's why I was thinking that.
Yeah, because he's a cool guy. Nothing about the man. This should be good. It's still perplexing. They really haven't given us a whole lot of the reason why, but maybe we don't ever get it. Maybe because he just does whatever the fuck Lance Archer wants to do, and he doesn't like Eddie Kingston, and fuck him. I'll help the guys that don't like him. Fuck him.
I agree. I think I'm there with you, but again, it's like, hey, man, if the first guy that Eddie Kingston's going to call out is God, he probably has some real issues. Let's not beat up on the mentally handicapped guy. You know what I mean? Like, he obviously has some mental issues. Let's have him work on this. Yeah, let's have him work on this.
Right.
Where's the therapist that helped out Daniel Bryan and Kane? Bring him in.
Dr. Shelby.
Yeah, have Dr. Shelby help out Eddie Kingston, because obviously Eddie Kingston's going through some things, and he doesn't need to be getting beat up because he doesn't know how to act. The poor guy just had to say, I quit in a title match. How would you feel? You bullies, leave my friend
AEW
alone.
should go find that guy just for like a segment, just a one-off. They'd have to call him something different, but just have him be
Dr. Shelton. Yeah, just call him Dr. Shelton.
Dr. Shelby something, right? Just Shelby Johnson. They'll be like,
leave my friend Eddie Kingston alone, okay? AEW baby faces. He's going through some things, and he needs some time to figure it out. You jerks. Eddie Kingston's my best friend. Eddie Kingston is my best friend.
That's not a No.
I think if we were friends, he would be my best friend.
Right. You only have a friend.
Hey, pal, as we keep talking.
Yeah.
As we keep talking about AEW, then we get to the 12-man tag. I believe it was 12-man, right? Was it 12-man?
Right?
It was the
Count
Best
'em.
Friends, Top Flight, Varsity Blondes.
Yep.
No Brandon Cutler. That's what it was. No Brandon Cutler. It was Best Friends, Varsity Blondes, and Top Flight versus the Inner Circle. This was kind of forgettable to me. Nothing stood out. This is, again, where I felt like, make me like the Inner Circle by making me miss them. I don't need to see Chris Jericho. I understand they have told us he's getting the most money in AEW, and that's fine, but make me miss him a little bit. You're getting to the point where it's fatigue of Inner Circle.
Well, yeah, and I just like the backstage segment was fine, right? He's got the award from the New York Times, and he's definitely pissed about it. Jericho's definitely pissed about it. That was all fine. That's all we needed.
Yeah, I don't know if we needed this match. It was fine. It felt like they featured Top Flight more than any other team. It felt like they were the ones that were getting showcased.
I'm
They're
really
fine.
unimpressed with Top Flight. They're fine, but like I'm not.
Yeah, I think they're good. I think they're going to be good baby faces to do some fun flips, right? And so after the fallout from this match, we're going to get Top Flight versus MJF and Chris Jericho. One interesting note, MJF did tag himself in to get the pinfall victory. Again, a little bit look at me kind of thing. I feel as if maybe the Inner Circle finale is coming a little bit sooner rather than later, which was welcomed in my book. But yeah, so we're going to get Top Flight and MJF versus, Top Flight versus MJF and Chris Jericho next week. How do you feel about that match as we go into next week's episode with that matchup? You think anything's going to be interesting?
I think it'll probably just be a setup for widening the divide between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think we're ending the Inner Circle, or we are seeing that where we've talked about MJF kind of takes it over. I think maybe we do see that, like we lose Hager. Maybe Hager, I don't know what they're doing with Hager. And, Sammy Guevara goes on a face run because he's like, nah, screw this, I'm out. Jericho gets beat down, and then it's just, the LAX and MJF and Wardlow, and that's it. I mean, that would be fine. That would be great.
Yeah.
The Inner Circle.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going with this. The only thing I fear is we've seen Chris Jericho with more of those new age wrestlers, very much like a Orange Cassidy, where Chris Jericho gets lost on like, which way am I supposed to go? And I feel like with Top Flight, they're very much like Private Party, where it's, you have to stand here for me to do this move well. And Chris Jericho may do the, hey, I've been doing this for 30 years. We can freestyle it. And they're like, no, we can't yet. And they're going to get maybe a clash of styles where it might be a clunky match. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to see MJF tag himself in to get the victory, or MJF tags himself to get in, the victory, but then Chris Jericho tags himself back in, and they keep doing that to get a victory. Something like that.
Here's how I would do it. Wardlow does something to like mess with Jericho, and it causes them to lose or something, right? And Jericho's pissed, but MJF's like, no, he's like playing it off, trying to like convince Jericho that was a mistake, buddy. That was a gay guy. And then he's like, Wardlow, tell the man you're sorry. And Wardlow's like, sorry. You know what I mean? Like just kind of playing it off, and then like have that kind of the divide weakening there, right? Because I think what you do is I think you have that where we said, right, you lose Hager, you get Sammy Guevara leaves, they beat down Jericho, it's just the four left, right? They're working together, they're the Inner Circle. But then that divide eventually breaks because it's LAX. I'm calling them LAX, fuck it.
Yeah.
Forever.
No, that's fine.
It's not proud and powerful. Yeah. They're finally like, dude, we're done taking orders from you. You're a chump, right? And then it's Wardlow and MJF, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then even in that with Wardlow, like, fuck you, I'm out of here, right? Like he eventually just like, fuck that, I'm out of here, leaves MJF to the wolves with LAX. That gets him on the face. And then you just dissolve the whole thing, right? That's how I would tell it over time.
I like that idea. One thing that I did like, as you said, your fantasy booking for the Inner Circle, one thing that I think may be interesting is you keep the Wardlow does something that ends up, screwing up Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho looks stupid. Maybe he takes the pinfall loss. And then backstage, Chris Jericho's like, Wardlow, you piece of shit. Why did you do that? MJF, make him apologize. And then MJF's like, Wardlow, apologize. And then Wardlow says, why? You told me to do it. And then Chris Jericho's like, you motherfucker. And MJ's like, no. I didn't say, no. And he's like, Wardlow, you asshole. Why did you're like, I didn't say, well, when I
He's
leave
like, you don't
here.
pay me to lie. You just pay me to fucking guard you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
Right.
would be interesting. Yeah, then we start the acceleration of the end of the end.
Then he could be like, I pay you to shut up, too.
pay you to shut your fucking mouth. All right, so then as we get back into this week's episode, the next matchup, another tag matchup, but this time the traditional 2-on-2, we saw SCU taking on the Acclaimed. This was okay. I have some thoughts, but I want your thoughts first, and then I'll share what I thought about the whole segment itself.
Much like with John Cena, I'm unimpressed with rap gimmicks by people who look like they have just kind of learned how to rap without fumbling lines, right? Like you've got to do it slow, and you got to do it at this pace. You got to do it at the same pace Frankie Kazarian did it, Mm-hmm. Like I don't... Look, I get it, but you're also running the risk of making that guy the star. The other guy's just this hype man. Like the Acclaimed, for whatever reason, they're strapping a rocket to these fellas, and I mean they look the part. Don't get me wrong; these fellas are impressive looking specimens. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's promise in these guys. They definitely look like they're hungry and look like they got some gusto, if you will. Look at that word, gusto. But
We're hip.
It's not there yet. I don't think so. I don't know. I'm iffy about this.
I'm okay with the Acclaimed. I like the Acclaimed. I like post-match after they got the victory, calling out the Young Bucks. They built the case that they've won 5 matches on Dark, so that shows that they're not just a fly-by-the-night kind of contender. I like all of that. What I don't like is, and this is me getting a little Dave Meltzer or IWC, where I try not to be, but this is my opinion, is if one guy we're trying to get over, or one team in this regard is trying to get over the battle rap gimmick, which is fine. Battle rap is a huge niche interest in the world of entertainment, right? And if someone wants to do it, by all means, there can't just be John Cena. No one else tries it again. So I'm okay with that. But you can't have the first time in my memory him walking out doing the battle rap thing, and then Kazarian just buries him. Because Kazarian did it.
Yeah.
Right. Kazarian did it, and then you could argue did it better. That's not the point. But he does it and then says, and you're fucking dumb. I'm paraphrasing, but like, and you're fucking dumb. So to the eyes of the casual viewer, me, I say, well, fuck the Acclaim. They can't even do it better than these old guys. So I don't want to see the rap the next time.
So next week they come out doing it. I'm going to remember, but Kazarian's got you.
Right.
Again, because you rapped at the same pace and style that Kazarian, who probably because he has to rap at that pace and style because he had these lines written out and he practiced them. So did you. You're not a rapper. You just practice. I could do that as well. Right? Like I could,
I understand, but I understand, like I'm giving a little bit of leeway because it's your first time, right? The first time you don't want to fuck up the lines and go like, 8 Mile
this is
it.
the second time I've seen them do this. I mean,
is it? Okay.
Quick,
Okay, this is the first time I can remember. I know they did the backstage, but I'm saying walking out to the ring, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the coming out in the ring thing, this is the first time. Yes,
right.
I agree with that, yeah.
So it felt dead on arrival when Kazarian just grabs the microphone and is like, and you're fucking dumb. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that's over because, next week he's going to try it. And does Matt Jackson then shit on him? And then each week they just become the punchline of comedy wrestling. We already have enough of that.
Would have been salvageable if they really, after they beat him, like put a hurting on him to where you were a little uncomfortable and then rap something over him. Like, are we stupid now, right?
Yeah.
And I know they went after the Young Bucks, and that was cool, too. I agree with that. But, like, maybe it would have made that a little better to get called out and punked out because then they go, okay, and then they beat him, and then they smash it in a little bit to where, like, you don't want to ever say something bad about me, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then even Kazarian's kind of like, holy shit, man, he's Young kids these days. Woo.
Well, so post-match, the Acclaim gets the victory. As I mentioned, they call out the Young Bucks. Looks like next week we're going to get the Young Bucks taking on the Acclaimed. I'm all for that. Again, I like this matchup. But one other interesting note is Kazarian pushes Christopher Daniels, essentially saying, like, why do you always keep costing us the match? So maybe this is the end of SCU. Another interesting note, if you paid attention, Scorpio Sky has different music. He's not coming out to the SCU music anymore. He's established himself as his own singles competitor. Maybe this is the dissolve of the first ever.
Did you catch the commercial for his new podcast? He stole our gimmick.
Well, yeah, I mean, but who doesn't steal from us?
Stole our fucking gimmick, Scorpio Sky. Tom used to give you all this praise. He used to talk the world about you.
Yeah.
You were up here. He put you on a pedestal, Scorpio.
I did.
And you just took it. I'm upset.
I am. But you know what? I've moved on. Eddie Kingston's my best friend. So we're BFFs. So Scorpio Sky, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you. Eddie Kingston's my best friend.
Ain't got no time.
I'm sorry.
Everybody's going to know your podcast, your posers.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
No time. We got to talk about Eddie. Eddie,
if you want to book an interview, we might be able to fit you in. Talk about it.
We're going to talk to Eddie.
Maybe.
But is this going to be the first time we see a tag team breakup other than Kenny Omega? And Kenny Omega and Adam Page didn't necessarily break up. They just lost the titles and then went their separate ways. Is this going to be the first time we're going to see SCU break up? They were the first ever tag team champions.
Yeah, that Kenny Omega Adam Page thing, that still bugs me because we just kind of went away from that.
Well, you know why. You know who's ending all of this shit.
What?
Hangman Adam Page is going to be the one that takes Kenny Omega down from his pedestal. If they don't fucking do that,
back to AEW.
Yeah,
they're going to take it hostage over it.
Yeah, if they don't pull the trigger on Hangman Adam Page, is the fucking have him come in on a goddamn white horse. You guys are all doing this fucking wrong.
No, here's what you do. Okay, this is perfect. All right, this is Tim story time, right? Team Max story time.
Here we go.
Hangman Adam Page keeps hanging out with the Dark Order, right? He's finally like, all right, whatever. He kind of does the Cole Cabana thing, like, all right, fine, we're winning some matches. I don't give a shit.
Right.
All right, so we're drinking, we're having a good time. And then even they're kind of like, hey, man, what do you know, the same thing happened with the Elite, where he's kind of like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, I didn't show. And they're like, dude, you got it right. And then it just kind of goes bad. Like, he's just kind of the outcast. He just kind of gets out. And he's like, oh, shit, right? And then there's like maybe even you find a way to squeeze in another one, right? Where he's trying to hang out with somebody. He's walking another tag team. And then that guy's kind of like, I'm just going to go do my own thing, right? To where he's getting real sad and drinky, Hangman Adam Page, right? Everybody's rejecting him. Like, what's the deal, man? I don't get it. And then Kenny Omega's still riding high. He's still Don Callis, just fucking crotch chopping people, not giving a shit. They're basically holding the title hostage, not giving real competitors a match. They're going on Impact and putting up great matches, putting the title on the line over there, and they're like, what the hell? And then on Impact, here comes the Hangman, maybe, right? On there, not even that. I wouldn't do it there. Do it on AEW because that's better. They're finally, Hangman comes riding in on the horse. He starts beating down on them there one time. Everybody, he finally wins the title, like you said. He gets the title back over. Everybody's raising Hangman. He's finally like, hey, he's finally out of his goddamn, sad drinky thing, right? That's how you build the Hangman up.
Yeah.
Get him all depressed to finally now he's the hero.
That's what I'm saying. That's the story you tell, is as Kenny Omega becomes the Impact World Champion, he's already the AAA World Champion, he's the AEW World Champion, because essentially what his character is anti-company. He doesn't like the construct of what these companies are. He is elevated above that. So fuck your AEW, fuck your AAA, fuck your Impact, fuck your MLW, fuck your New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, fuck all of these companies. I am the greatest. Look at all the belts. I proved it, right? So him and Don Callis.
I can go anywhere.
Right. And so him and Don Callis, not to your point, doesn't necessarily hold them hostage, but says you know what? This week, we're not defending the AEW championship. You know why? Because I've got another belt to defend, and this isn't that important to me. And then you just have him kicking up his feet, telling Tony Khan to get him coffee, pushing down Tony Schiavone, just becoming the biggest shit ass heel there is, right? But then still beating everyone. So Rey Fenix gets beat next week. After that, it's Matt Jackson in a one-on-one match. Then Nick Jackson after that. It's just everyone, right? And then at the same time, parallel to this is Hangman Adam Page going like, I don't fit in the Dark Order. I don't even want to be in there, right? So the Dark Order's like, come on. He's like, you know what? I did the Bullet Club or the Elite stuff. You know what? I'm my own man. And he just goes away, right? And it becomes hey, is anyone checking in on Adam Page? And we don't see from him. Almost kind of like Undertaker, like where it's like, oh, I think I saw him at a bar in Louisville, Kentucky. It's like, I don't think so, right? You know? Yeah. And so he's gone.
I was at that bar. He wasn't there.
Yeah, no. Well, it's like, actually, I did see him. And he leaves like his calling card. It could be a cowboy hat. It could be something, right? So then you have this segment.
They're like looking for him. They're like, somebody said they saw him here. And they're like, no, he couldn't have been here. And then they see like a half-drank whiskey. And they're like,
right, yeah, whatever his drink is. Yeah, it's a Jack and Coke, whatever it is, right? That's his drink. That's what's left there. Obviously, that's the sign that Hangman was here, right? So anyhow, he's gone, but we're still trying to find him, but we can't. We're doing these little vignettes, all of that. Meanwhile, Kenny Omega's doing all of his shit. The big pay-per-view that's next, I don't know what that is for them. Let's just say it's All Out. I'm just ballparking. I don't know what the next pay-per-view is. Yeah, sure. And Kenny Omega and Don Callis are like, we're not wrestling anyone here because you guys all fucking suck. And then he goes, you know what? Actually, guess what? Next person that comes through that door, we'll fight him. Who cares? We can beat anyone in this company. We'll beat them. You look at the door, no one comes through the door. Looking at the door, no one comes through the door, right? Then a fucking white horse with Hangman Adam Page comes fucking galloping towards the arena. He gets off. Oh shit. Next pay-per-view, Adam Page, Kenny Omega. Adam Page has found his voice. He's his own man. Beats Kenny Omega. That's how you do it.
I wouldn't even do that. It would be like the next person that comes through that thing, we'll fight him. And then just the horse comes out and they're like, the fuck is this? Right? They're like, horse. Goddamn horse. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like it doesn't even hit him. And then turn around behind him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Adam Page. Boom. Right?
Yep.
And the fight is on. Right?
There it is. That's how you do it. That is how you do it.
Cowboy shit.
Cowboy shit. And then you got a fucking real cowboy who stands on his own, doesn't talk to anyone, almost like Sting in the sense that he's not doing promos, but not like Darby Allin where it's like, I'm my own guy in the rafters. No, just like, I'm a fucking cowboy. I'm a sheriff. I come around. I lay down the law, and you guys can go
Kid
fuck
Rock
yourself.
Cowboy, baby.
Take it easy. He's cooler than that. All right, so we still got a couple matches to go through on AEW. The next matchup was a women's tag match. It was Big Swole and Serena Deeb.
Let me guess, is this right before the main event?
As always.
Is this right before the main event?
It's always the same format. Versus Diamante and Ivelisse, because remember, they won that tag team tournament that went 0. It went nowhere. Guys, treat your women better.
I literally forgot that was a thing until you just said it.
Yep.
Like,
they won that tournament.
If they referenced it, I forgot because I really was kind of half watching that match, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so they won that tournament. They lose this match because that obviously shows they're a strong tag team. But post-match, Nyla Rose comes in, beats up Big Swole and Serena Deeb, as does Ivelisse and Diamante. And then, and this is where I think it was going to be Brandy Rhodes before the pregnancy, just spitballing it here. But then Red Velvet comes in to the ring with the chair, chases him off. I think they're going to substitute Red Velvet in the place of Brandy Rhodes and still try to do a Jade Cargill versus person, and it's not going to be Brandy Rhodes. It's going to be Red Velvet. That's my own thought process there.
Yeah, possibly.
Another women's segment that they did do backstage is Thunder Rosa called out Dr. Britt Baker. Dr. Britt Baker then jumps her from behind, puts her in her finisher, rubs her paint all over her face. So that was, again, furthering a storyline. Is what it is. I still think Darby Allin and Thunder Rosa should do a tutorial on how to paint your face. I think that'd be a funny YouTube video if they're like, this is how I do it. And then They paint half their face, and then the other one paints the other half of the face.
They should do like some split screen videos.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're both
and then,
they should race. They should race to see who can.
and then you take the two split screens and put it in one face. Yeah, that's what they should do.
Yeah, they should literally like just split screen the video and race to see who can paint their face faster.
Why not? They got fucking Dark Order guys in cowboy hats. That's not the worst thing in the world. All right, now let's get to our main event. What I thought was the best segment of the night. It was a no disqualification world title match. Joey Janela taking on the champion, Kenny Omega. Oh, man, this had so many fun moments. What did you think about this main event match?
I missed the reason why. Like, why is he facing Kenny Omega here again? Like, they said it was something about the World Championship Eliminator, right? Like, I missed why he's there all of a sudden, Joey Janela again. Don't get me wrong.
I believe it was, let me make sure. I believe it's because he didn't lose in the match, or was that it? No, because I thought he did.
Yeah, because they mentioned that old tournament, and then it was something. Yeah, like he got. Yeah, okay. So anyway, started right off with a bang, right? Just walloping him with the trash can, and here we go. It was cool. I liked it. This was fun.
Okay, so let's get into before the match. Before the match, I thought had some fire lines from everyone's favorite uncle, Tony Schiavone. So, Justin Roberts in the promo says Kenny Omega, who appeared on Impact Wrestling, drew the ratings up 33%. He's a heavyweight
North
champion.
Carolina in there
all the time. Is that where he's from?
North Carolina? No, I don't think I think he's from Canada, isn't he? Like I don't.
Does he live in North Carolina? I don't know much about him.
I don't know.
Okay. So
we don't fact check, but
we don't fact check. Fuck it, who cares?
You talk. I'll look it up.
Okay. So my favorite line though was Justin Roberts mentions that Kenny Omega was on Impact, and that drew the ratings up 33%. So then, as he's walking out, Tony Schiavone says, "I'm so glad that Kenny Omega drew their viewership up from 1 to 6," which is the 33%.
Yeah. Kenny Omega is from Winnipeg.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't get the North Carolina thing. Hashtag tweet the table if you do know, because we obviously don't.
Yeah, if it's an inside joke, I don't know, but it's funny that they find a way to squeeze it in somehow in some oddball reference.
Yeah. But Tony Schiavone's insults towards Impact Wrestling are so great. Flipping back to Impact Wrestling, they did another paid advertisement. Tony Schiavone shitting again on Impact Wrestling. He's like, I can't even find Impact Wrestling. If you ask your TV, they said we can't find it either, or whatever the line was. Just everything is awesome from him.
Tony Schiavone is having the time of his fucking life right now, isn't he?
Well, and then so Don Callis, so he says the line of he drew the viewership from 1 to 6, which I thought was a 10 out of 10 line. And then Don Callis comes in. He's like, I'm going to call this match. And Tony Schiavone just leans back and says, you can kiss my ass.
Yeah, he's like, nah, no. He's like, get out of here. And I love that Don Callis just fucked off. He was just like, all right, fuck it.
Well, that was my favorite part. Is you got punked out by everyone's favorite uncle, Tony Schiavone.
Yeah. I love it that, like, Michael Cole in that situation, they have him powder out every time. They maybe give him a wedgie. Tony Schiavone, who's not fighting anybody, says, no, you can kiss my ass because I'm going to fight Don Callis. I don't care.
Oh, that was my favorite moment of the night. Yeah, just leans back and points at him. You can kiss my ass. And Don Callis is like, well, shit. Guess I can't fit in here.
But Don Callis was great, too, doing the live fucking commentary.
Oh, yeah.
His shit was funny, too. Like, Don Callis
so he saves face, and he starts doing the by gods as a jab at JR. And he does all the stuff. I did like that. That was good. Again, I think the story of Kenny Omega is starting to make a little bit more sense, at least to me, where he's saying, I'm better than all of these companies. Like, I'm the champion anywhere I go. Don't believe me? Let's fucking see it, right? I'll go beat Rich Swann in Impact. This
will be where we see the NJP, the New Japan.
Yeah, this is all that stuff.
Coming into play, probably. Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I thought it was good. I thought that Kenny Omega did some good heel work here too, grabbing the microphone himself doing some play-by-play as he kicked Joey Janela, things like that?
Well, and fast forward, I guess, then we'll catch up. You're going to talk about post-match after the match. I'll chime in then.
Yeah, so Kenny Omega gets the victory over Joey Janela. Joey Janela looked good. I don't think it was a complete squash match. He did have some good offense. He had Kenny Omega on the ropes a couple different times, which was good. But yeah, so he gets the victory. And then post-match, we see the Death Triangle come out. Pac says, hey, did you forget Rey Fenix never lost in that tournament? I got it sanctioned next week. Rey Fenix versus you for the title.
How many motherfuckers we got in this tournament that didn't lose? What kind of tournament are we running here?
Yeah, so Rey Fenix did beat Pentagon and then bowed out and forfeited because of an injury. So technically, yeah, you're right. He didn't lose. Although if you forfeit, I think that's a loss. Anyhow, neither here nor there. Where I think this is going to go, this is my hope. So let's talk a little bit about Impact, and then I'll come back to my point on this. So Kenny Omega was again on Impact Wrestling, as Justin Roberts and Tony Schiavone talked about on AEW Dynamite. The Bullet Club reforms, I guess. Although Tama Tonga was like, you guys aren't fucking Bullet Club anymore. Fuck you guys. Like, I'm tired of this shit. You guys can't just have 3 members and call it Bullet Club. Anyhow, Carl Anderson. Ken Anderson was Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Carl Anderson, the Big Bastard, and Kenny Omega beat up Rich Swann. Luke Gallows, whatever. Who cares? We don't fact check. Beat up Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. They announced that they're going to be a 6-man tag on Impact's next pay-per-view. So this is what I think is going to happen. Next week, we have Rey Fenix versus Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega is going to retain through shenanigans, which is going to piss off Pentagon and Pac. So guess who's going to come to the aid of Kenny Omega in AEW Dynamite? The Good Brothers. And we're going to get the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega versus the Death Triangle in AEW. Huh? That's what's happening. Hey, the Lucha Bros and Pac, I'll always watch any match that they have because I think they're disgruntled, miserable bastards, and I can relate to that. So I like them a lot. And the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega will be fine. They're going to do their part.
Sure. Yeah, I was a little at the end, right? So the precedent of, hey, these 2 people didn't lose in the tournament, so now they get a shot at the champion. Well, I'm going to find a way to not be able to compete in every tournament then for a world title and get a back door into a shot at. You can't.
Yeah.
You don't just not lose. You got to also win, right? That's kind of the cutthroat mentality of a sport. And if we're watching a quote unquote sport here in a tournament, it's also then at the end, the character of Kenny Omega and Don Callis were really upset when he finally goes, I got this match approved. You're facing Rey Fenix. And they're like, you can't do that. Oh, my God, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, these guys are saying we're the best. Nobody can stop us. Guys like that would have played it off. You know what I mean? They were like, whatever, chump. You know what I mean? Like, that one
but I guess,
was like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I agree with you to a certain extent, but isn't that also what kind of heels do? Say that they're the baddest guys in the world, and then when they say prove it, go like, I don't have time for it. And so this is I'm the baddest in the world. All right, then I'm wrestling you next week. No, you asshole. You can't do that. So it's a little bit of a traditional heel
I guess
tactic.
It's something to say they know Rey Fenix can fucking pull this off, right? So.
Well, yeah. Well, and Rey Fenix and Kenny Omega have history not only in AEW, but also in AAA.
Around the world.
Yeah, and around the world. So yeah, to your point, they know each other pretty well. But I think this culminates with Death Triangle versus 3 members of the Bullet Club for 6 months or however long they were in that club together, which is fine. It's fine. It
is fine, but like, is Kenny Omega gonna have Don Callis by his side for his entire run? Is this all going to be based around this? How long are we doing this? How do we get out of this? Where does it lead? That's a little bit, which is probably a good thing as well, right? Because I don't want to know what's coming around the corner. So
yeah, it's not predictable, which is great. And that's one of my favorite things in pro wrestling is when it's not predictable. Again, we're going back to story time for a little bit. As I said, Hangman Adam Page will take down the monster of Kenny Omega, but in doing so, Don Callis goes, well, I don't associate with losers like Kenny Omega. I'm going to Impact. And then he gets his horse, he gets behind, I don't even know who's over there. That'd be someone, Ethan Page, if he's still there, or, Eric Young.
You brought up Rich Swann. If there's a guy that makes me turn the channel faster than Rich Swann, I haven't found him.
TJP?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Rich Swann is just, I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't get what anybody would think. I just don't.
Yeah.
I
agree.
don't mean that personally. The guy, whatever his real name is, might be a nice guy. But this character is never.
Yeah, his character is very generic in my book. And the only thing personally that I know about him is, didn't he get fired from WWE allegedly for beating up his girlfriend? Isn't that the whole reason he left 205 Live?
Is that a thing?
I thought so. And I could be wrong.
I didn't know
Again, we don't fact check. And I said allegedly, so you can't sue me. And if I'm wrong, hashtag tweet the table. But I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Allegedly. You're going to fact check? I don't. I wouldn't do it. Who cares? We're in this, Tim. We're in it together. Tim, you and I are both saying that he got fired allegedly for beating up his girlfriend from WWE. He got fired from WWE. So anyhow, I don't know anything about him personally, other than that story that I think is associated with him. I'm going to keep filling time as you Google this because you look very anxious, and I kind of like it. I like the fear that in your eyes. It's kind of fun.
Swann married his girlfriend of 5 years, Vanera Riggs, a fellow professional wrestler better known as Sue Young, in March 2017. Swann was arrested in Gainesville, Florida on charges of battery and kidnapping/false imprisonment. The victim was identified as his wife. According to the arrest report, Swann and Riggs had gotten into an argument over Swann criticizing Riggs' performance at a show that night. When Riggs tried to get away from Swann, witnesses stated that he grabbed her in a headlock and dragged her back into his car.
So there you go. I wasn't wrong. So now we can rest easy that I said something that I did hear.
Yeah, I wanted to fact check that one because that was a bit of a claim. I was like,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure on that one. And good. I'm glad that I'm not glad that happened, but I'm glad that I was right.
This makes me feel better about not liking the guy, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Again, this is allegedly.
Allegedly. Who knows? But again, smoke and fire. Anyhow.
All charges were dismissed.
Yep. So there you go. Everything
insufficient
happened for
evidence to move forward with the case. Okay.
There you go. But again, it's not great to have on your record in any way, right? And I don't know much about you except for that one thing, so maybe I don't like you that much. But again, on what we see on TV, to your point,
maybe he's just showing her. You should have got her like this. Bulldog.
Easy.
Easy.
Let's take it easy. So that was AEW Dynamite. As we mentioned, nothing really earth-shattering coming out of the episode. I did ask, though, as we're going into the end of the year for AEW, they did announce that there's going to be 2 special guest commentators for the last 2 episodes of AEW Dynamite. One, Chris Jericho, then followed by the next week of Snoop Dogg. So I asked, who are you more looking forward to on AEW commentary? And with 55% of the votes, Tim, it was Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's the wrong answer.
You go with Chris Jericho.
I go with Chris Jericho because, look, Snoop Dogg is going to be neat. It's going to be novelty, but about, 40 minutes in, you're going to be like, all right, Snoop, this routine is...
Yeah, I get it. You think that this is also your uncles fighting, like you said about Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson. You got to say something else. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, look, Snoop would be fun to hang out with, don't get me wrong, but... commentary for 2 hours is rough.
Yeah, maybe he's not doing it for 2 hours. Maybe he's just doing it for the main event. I hope something
that would be good.
A little bit more limited would be
Jericho can
ideal.
go all night, and he'll be
Jericho
great. He'll be the best commentator out there.
Well, and this is why I liked commentary this week, especially in the main event more than I ever have, is it wasn't 3 guys doing the same thing. It was JR telling you the moves, or JR telling you the story, Excalibur telling you the moves, and then Tony Schiavone shitting on Impact Wrestling. It was a personality there. I'm not saying you need a heel and a babyface, but what I am saying is you need someone to be different than the other And all three of them do the same thing for the most part, except in this case when Tony Schiavone said Don Callis can kiss his ass, which was memorable.
What was Corey Graves was doing that for a while? Where it was Elias that he hated.
Mm-hmm.
That like even when he was a face, but then like he turned heel and he was like, "No, this guy still sucks."
Yeah, his
like,
music. He's like, I hate this song. Oh my God, we're doing it again. Yeah, he was always doing that. That's what's needed from the commentary from AEW is they can't all be the straight man, because then it's all white noise if you're all the same thing. That's why I think Chris Jericho does so well, is because he's the heel commentator that does the, oh my God, I've never seen that. Oh, that guy, why'd he roll him up there? He should cover him right here. That guy's an
looks
asshole.
Like he stinks. Right.
Yeah, all that stuff. That's why I think Chris Jericho works so well. It's because he's so different than JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone. But going back to my original point, I thought Tony Schiavone was the best he's been since he started in AEW, when he just shits on Impact Wrestling, which is great. Because fuck Impact Wrestling.
It's a favorite pastime of ours in the 7 years we've been doing this show.
Yeah, fuck
we
that
could find
show.
a montage of that, like where we just shit on Impact Wrestling for.
Yeah.
I think we said it. They were like finger painting the house on one episode.
Yeah, Impact sucks.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Impact Wrestling. I mean,
no, that was AEW
that
Dynamite.
Was not Impact. Excuse me. That was AEW Dynamite. We didn't watch Impact. That was all fun and games. We like that. We've also got a big event coming up on the flip side of this coin, the WWE. Right? They've got tables, ladders, chairs.
Oh my.
A whole other bag of tricks might be coming in. Who knows, right? We've got that going on, and we're going to make some predictions here. We're going to go through this card. We're going to see who we think. We don't have any wager on this. We're not like putting each other to task here. We're just going to kind of go through this and see what's going on. But what do you think of before we get into match by match? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts going into TLC 2020?
Forgettable. I think this is another content filler night for WWE that says we need 27 hours of content this month. How can we get there? Let's add 3 more hours on a Sunday. I also think TLC matches should be built around the feud, not built around a pay-per-view. I think it should warrant the conditions. But, whatever. It's going to happen. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. These gimmick matches should not become pay-per-views. It ruins the gimmick match. The only exception is the Elimination Chamber, because that was set up to be a way to determine who's going to get the title match.
Right.
Going
or the champion. Or become the champion. Yeah, one of the two.
Right. Yeah. So
I also want to say, check out our YouTube page as soon as TLC is over. I will do my instant reaction. So be sure to be on the lookout for that, as I will give you all the hot takes as a gas bag like me should. So tune into that.
I may or may not provide a not so instant reaction, a less than instant reaction the day later. Maybe.
There you go. As
if I got
promised.
time, if I feel like it. I got an interview on Tuesday coming up, so maybe I won't do it on Monday. Maybe I'll be busy. I don't know. Maybe I'll fit it in on Monday. Who knows?
Well, look at that. Anticipation. I like that. Good.
But TLC, let's go through this. Right. All right. Raw Tag Team Championship on the line. New Day versus the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I think the Hurt Business win this.
I sure hope so. I'm going Hurt Business. The New Day, who else could they feud with after this?
And it's, God, man, it's so tired. And then the Hurt Business, they could use it, right? They're still new. They're doing things. To have some gold draped around them helps. And, Cedric Alexander, I like this character change for him. The confidence in him is incredible.
I think post Hurt Business, when we look back, I hope to say that the breakout star was Cedric Alexander. That's my hope out of this whole thing. And I think the start of that is becoming tag champs with Shelton Benjamin. Side note, did you see Paul Heyman get into the ass, figuratively, of Big E on the Talking Smack?
I didn't see this.
Oh, man. So Big E was like, I'm paraphrasing everything here, right? So Big E's like, hey, you guys can't break my spirit. I'm still going to be Big E. Ha, ha, ha. And Paul Heyman's like, hey, man, we're ready to see you fucking be a standout star. And he said, I think I'm almost saying this verbatim, but he said, we want to look back and say that New Day was a footnote in your career, not that you were the New Day. And he goes, and you know how I know that can happen? When was the last time the Shield was brought up to Roman Reigns?
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, man. And so and it left Big E speechless, whether that was planned or not. But it was like, yeah, man. And for the other two, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, let's do something. Let's,
Yeah. I feel like this talking smack is great. I feel like they let them have this like tinge of realism in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these, I know they're doing a show here and they're going out and they're still telling stories, but this is where the old days where we were like, they would let them hit some bullet points and hone their skills. I feel like this is where they're letting them do it because some of this gets real personal, and I can only imagine, I'm going to go back and watch, but I can only imagine that probably is a moment where he really was saying that to Big E. And Big E was
felt like it.
Shit. Yeah.
Well, and the other two guys, Kofi Kingston, I'm not saying he should retire at all, but he's been doing this for a long time. But he needs a refresh. And Xavier Woods, and this is not me, look, make your money wherever you can. But what I will say to Xavier Woods as a casual fan of the New Day is pick a lane, pal. I can't have you say, check out Up, Up, Down, Down. Hey, check out that I'm going to be the host of G4, and then also care that you're like in pro wrestling, because it seems like you're not doing one of these to the best of your abilities. And right now it kind of feels like it's pro wrestling, and that's my thing. So either piss or get off the pot and go over to G4 and do your fucking show over there, because I want to see
video games.
Pro wrestling. Cool. Yeah, I want to see guys doing pro wrestling, guys and girls. I want to see them committed to this. And I'm not a gamer. I don't give a shit about that stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, so the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships are on the line. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Asuka and...
All right, you want to guess who it is?
You go for it. I'm going to let you guess.
I don't like this. I don't like it, Tim. You know who it's going to fucking be. You know who it's going to be.
Who is it?
God damn it. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Charlotte.
Yep. It's going to be Charlotte.
Fucking Charlotte.
Charlotte was beat up by Nia Jax. That was the last time we saw her on television. Nia Jax now just beat up another person to take her off television. Who can be the white knight that avenges Lana's injury? Well, the last girl it happened to, and that's Charlotte. And so Charlotte and Asuka beat Shayna and Nia Jax. Now, is this for the championship?
Yep. Tag Team Championship. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Tag Team Championship. And then, you run right into?
Lana?
It was Lana who got beat up.
Well, no, I mean, is it going to be Lana?
Oh, I sure hope not. That would just undermine the whole ass kicking. Like, but I'm fine on Sunday. Like, but this is what you do.
That's true.
This is what you do. This is.
Yeah, but that's so like them, right? Like, it's last minute. She doesn't find anybody, and then here she comes and fucking,
Yeah. But here it is. This is what happens, right? So Charlotte comes out. Oh my God, it's Charlotte. She's back. Yay. Her and Asuka become the champions, tag team champions. So that means Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler can then feud against each other. And then we're going to do the classic, are we rivals or are we friends? Women's champion as the tag champion with the number one contender. What is that going to do?
What about Ronda Rousey?
No, not for this. Not for TLC. If this was Royal Rumble, but not TLC. Yeah. She ain't coming back for TLC.
That. True that.
But you know what I'm talking about? That tired-ass storyline where it's the heavyweight champion.
Well, yeah,
the number one contender.
Then it's going to be Charlotte versus Asuka, of course.
Yep, there you go. Yep. Blah. And you know where that's going to happen? WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right, SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks defends against Carmella. And Sasha Banks is going to win this. They do have the whole idea of like Sasha Banks can't defend, can't defend the title. Yeah. So
here's what
but I feel like she's going to win.
Yeah, I got Sasha too, but here's my feeling on this whole storyline. I don't like either girl.
Yeah, me neither.
They're not likable. They're
not likable. Thanks. They're not likable. They are not likable in either way. Now, I know Carmella's going for not likable.
Is she?
Great.
It feels like she's also doing her old character as babyface. Like, these girls just seem like they don't like each other, and that's fine. But then it's two girls that don't like each other that then I also don't like.
They're the same character.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's the Miz taking off Dolph Ziggler. Taking on Dolph Ziggler, you know?
That is a great analogy. It is the Miz taking on Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. But I hope they both lose. I hope it's a double knockout and they fucking both like lose the championship. I don't know how they could do that, but like, these two are not entertaining to me. In this feud.
I don't get it.
In this feud. That's what I'm going to say.
Not even in this feud. I don't care about either of these characters ever either.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's true.
I know we have talked about Bayley and Sasha Banks, and they've had some matches, and I will, when we're 20 years down the road, and we're doing the Spanish announce table still, and we're watching the Hall of Fame, and we are seeing, these two, Sasha Banks and Bayley, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember they did the things. But I'm never going to like have the nostalgia and go back and watch their stuff. I don't think they did anything groundbreaking necessarily outside of like bringing women's wrestling on the scene. But it wasn't even like those two that everybody was like, this is why we got to start watching women's wrestling either. I feel like it's just, I don't know. I'm not impressed with the two of them to the level that everybody else seems to be.
Well, I am impressed with Bayley. Her heel work right now is great. I love the ding dong hello.
That's a good.
Now she looks like Vicky Guerrero with the haircut, and I'll just say that. But of the two, Bayley, even as a babyface, is head and shoulders better than anything Sasha's ever done. In my opinion,
better. She is the Shawn Michaels to the Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, exactly, right there. So I will say, like, there's plenty of Bayley moments that I can think of where I'm like, I'm into this. For Sasha though, hey. That's the Hardy Boys, because it seems like everyone else likes them, but I sure don't. So just going to say that. But anyhow, double knockout, they both lose. But if we're really picking, I got Sasha.
All right, we have a Firefly Inferno match. The Fiend versus Randy Orton.
What? That's a real thing?
That is a thing. I don't even know what it is. I don't know how we got here. I'm going to be honest. I missed this, I guess. I don't know what we named the Firefly Inferno match. I'm going to read this right off of WWE.com, right? All right. Orton and Wyatt are no stranger to the destructive flames as the Viper once sadistically burned down the Wyatt family compound. Last week, the Viper turned Wyatt trapped Wyatt inside a burning box. But the Fiend emerged unscathed to punish Orton for his brutality. Now Orton will have to step inside the Fiend's twisted Inferno, and he never forgets. So, I mean, hey, when we talked about the Cena Wyatt match, we didn't know what was about to happen, whatever they called that, right? What was that match called?
The Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so this could be something good.
But look, this.
This is the problem with WWE. They recycle and reproduce so often that we get the same thing redone a different way with new dressing on it. They did a match in a house.
Yeah, and I'm not even necessarily that upset that there's a Firefly Funhouse Inferno match. Okay, whatever. Gimmicks are gimmicks. You got to make casual fans perk up their eyebrows and be interested somehow. Okay, I get it, right? But not with Orton and Bray Wyatt. To your point, they did the fucking house match at WrestleMania. They did the goddamn spiders or bugs thing. And then
Bugs on the Ring match.
Bugs on the Ring match, right? And then Orton burnt down his house. It's like, hey man, Orton can't just always fuck up Bray Wyatt and ruin this character. Because honestly, once the house was burnt down, that was the end, more or less, of the Bray Wyatt character, and he had to reinvent himself to here. And now we haven't even done this for a year and a half, and is Orton just going to do it again?
I, for the life of me, don't understand if we have a TLC pay-per-view and a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, why we don't have a Bugs on the Ring pay-per-view.
I mean, mine as well, but...
What the fuck? I mean, it was so popular.
Yeah. Do that again, brother. It's just, I don't know. This makes me really sad.
The Fiend wins?
I hope. If the Fiend loses, you might as well fire Bray
He's
Wyatt because he can't do anything.
Got to reinvent a new one at that point, which he will. I have no doubt he'd find some. It might take him a year, but he seems to get it. But
well, what does Alexa Bliss do during this match? That's the interesting part. What does Alexa Bliss do?
Yeah, I still feel like we're going to get that down the road where Alexa Bliss was pulling the strings.
Well, is it here? Are they just going to rush it and have her do it here?
I mean, why not? If you're not going to do anything else where you're just stalling with Randy Orton, who else is the Fiend going to go after?
Again, less is more. In my book, less is more. Orange Cassidy, Inner Circle, Bray Wyatt.
Subtleties.
These characters are less or more. Yeah.
Subtleties. You can fit more storylines into the show if you give me a little bit of each storyline each show.
And you can fill the content of the time with tournament matches or matches that have stakes. This is for the number one contenders match. This is a title match.
Here's our weekly NXT guy gets a shot at a veteran up here on the show, right?
Something. It's just
open challenge match, right? And you get some nobody. We were like, oh man, that game was good. See him on 205 Live,
right? It's just. I'm so done with the gimmick matches between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. But for the sake of picking, for the hope of Bray Wyatt, I'm going Bray Wyatt.
Universal Champion Roman Reigns defends against Kevin Owens in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. I felt like Kevin Owens has done a good job filling in here as, the not the butt of the joke, but just the target, right, for Roman Reigns' angst here.
So all these matches so far, I couldn't give two shits about. I'm being serious. I don't give two flying fucks about anything that happens there. Not that I'm saying I'm not going to watch it. There's no emotional investment in it. But this match does have my interest. I loved what Roman Reigns did last Friday. Again, we record this on a Thursday for any listeners. We don't know what happens on this week's episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, by the time you hear this,
SmackDown will probably already happened. But going back to the previous week's SmackDown, when Roman Reigns beat the shit out of Kevin Owens backstage and then looked into the camera and said, hey kids, hey wife, tell this man to fucking cut it out or else he won't be able to provide for you. And I was like, oh shit. Right? Oh, shit.
Well, because I like how he was like, oh, you're going to and he even said I guess I'm going to have to, Roman Reigns is this character, this subtleties, this almost like where he's just like, why are you making me do this?
Yeah, just everyone fall in line. Yeah,
I didn't want to do this.
Yeah, he's just like, everyone would be totally fine if they just bow to me, the king, the head of the table.
Jey Uso for the Usos, we've talked about the Usos' improvement from when we first saw them years ago to now. His acting of scared to approach Roman Reigns, and then when Roman's like, all right, you know where he's at, go get him, right? And he's kind of okay, fucking shit, he's just intimidated. It's all coming together very well, very well. I was telling a guy at work who was a wrestling fan but hadn't watched recently. I was telling him about Roman Reigns and this storyline in particular, and just it was getting me giddy for it. Yeah, this match, because of this storyline specifically, and Kevin Owens, like I said, has been done well in this role. This should be good, and the match will be brutal because of it, right? Yeah,
I hope, honestly, as much as I say I don't want just rematches for rematch sake, I want this story to continue, because as great as Roman Reigns is doing and as great as Jey Uso's doing with the I'm doing this so I don't get my ass kicked kind of thing, I think we could turn it up just a little bit more from Kevin Owens. Say he loses this match and let's just say he has a kayfabe injury where his knees hurt and he has to be out for 3 weeks, right? And then he realizes Roman Reigns legitimately tried to end my career. That shit ain't happening. And then he comes back with the vengeance of the working man kind of thing. And then we get this again at the Royal Rumble. I think we can turn it up more from Kevin Owens and then really have a payoff at Royal Rumble, where a match that we could maybe remember, it'll be 2021 as a match of the year candidate. But for this pick, I'm going Roman Reigns because Jey Uso, maybe even Jimmy, because again, Jimmy's there too. They get involved and help out Kevin Owens.
That's what will happen is we'll get that match, and then something will happen big time. Roman Reigns will come out looking like an even more vicious, evil stud. That's when The Rock will appear. Give him a little, that'll start the road to WrestleMania. We're going to get Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania for the head of the family.
So, yes, if we're writing that down, 1,000,000%. I think the big caveat there is, are we having fans? I know, like, speaking in real life, I know the vaccine, yada, 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 all that stuff.
Well,
if we can do fans, I think we're having The Rock.
We might get The Rock even without it, because they might call him and be like, hey, we need the eyeballs. We need people to watch.
Yeah, but do you think The Rock's honestly going to wrestle in an empty arena? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, like,
The Thunderdome?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do. He needs that. He needs the, oh, I got goosebumps and all that bullshit. He needs that to be reliable.
We're getting The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
I'm not saying we're not. I just think, well, I think maybe, because the rumor is that they're going to do WrestleMania in LA, not this year, but next year, WrestleMania 38, is that? So in 2 years, we might get it.
Can't carry this on for a year.
Oh, you can make him go away and have him come back. Revisit the head of the table. There's plenty of other Samoans he can make bend to his will, right? Nia Jax can do it. Then he can get Jimmy to do it. Like, we got some other people that he can make submissive
that
into
family,
his.
they could keep running them out. Yeah.
Oh, and then once they get all the Samoans together, then go after Samoa Joe and make him like the outsider fucking bend to the wheel.
I'm not in your family, and they're like, yes, you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles in a TLC match. I'm assuming Omos will be involved somehow with this, and AJ Styles wins, right?
I think so. Yeah. I think Drew McIntyre is great.
The guy's going to lift him up. I think they're not even going to use a ladder. I think he's going to get on that guy's shoulders, and he's going to get it down from that.
Yeah, the ladders all break. Drew McIntyre can't figure out how to get up there. AJ Styles hits him with a Pele kick, then climbs up Omos and grabs the thing. Yeah, there's the finish. And here's the thing. Yeah, and here's the thing. I think AJ Styles as your champion that pushes everyone down and then runs behind Omos is a better story right now than Drew McIntyre is in a kilt and has a sword.
He's in a lover spat with Sheamus. Yeah.
And then, that's where I think we're going to go. So, right, that's the gimmick this time. TLC, AJ Styles climbs up Omos, gets the title. What the fuck? That's bullshit. There was no ladder for me to climb. Let's do this again, brother. Okay.
Maybe even Sheamus accidentally hurt Drew McIntyre, allowing that time to happen, right?
Well, I think at Royal Rumble, we'll get the rematch. And then there is when Sheamus brogue kicks Drew McIntyre.
Like, this is like a, oops, oh, brother, I was coming down to help you, and I didn't mean to trip you up. And then that allowed AJ to get the Pele kick. And
yeah.
Right, more
and
of the
then,
like, oh, no, that was an accident.
Yeah. And then this is what you can do. This is how easy it can happen. Because, again, I don't know about the fan situation, but you can do AJ wins at TLC, which that's my pick. AJ versus Drew McIntyre for the rematch at Royal Rumble. Then AJ defends his championship in the Elimination Chamber and loses it to Drew McIntyre. And then at WrestleMania, we get Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the championship.
At WrestleMania.
If there's no fans, that's an easy, at the end of last year's WrestleMania, it was Drew McIntyre and Big Show. Don't forget.
Never forget. I was trying to forget. We were going to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, good thing we didn't. Well, good thing we couldn't.
Yeah, yikes. So what do you think? TLC, one match? Looking forward to one match.
Yeah, although
2 matches. Maybe both championship matches.
Yeah, but I'm more interested in, I hope they do that finish. I hope Omos. Is it Omos? Amos? Almost. The big guy.
Almost.
The Big O. The Big O. I hope the Big O gets involved and we get to see some character development from him. And then, like I said,
about WWE, they go through the name game with everybody. They change Jon Moxley to Dean Ambrose, right? They change almost everybody's name. But they call this guy a name that we can't figure out what the fucking name is. Like, we can't. Like, wait, what'd you say? Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
Holla, holla, holla,
Almost.
holla.
What the fuck? What did you guys do?
Yeah. I don't know. But hey, before we get out of here, though, we got some tweet the tables, right? We got some tweet the tables.
Oh, yeah, we got tweet tables and emails. So we are the most interactive podcast in pro wrestling history. You can have a conversation with us on this show, and you're going to do that by using hashtag tweet the table on Twitter or by sending us an email, which is tableshow@gmail.com. Now on Twitter, hashtag tweet the table. If you're watching wrestling, if you're taking a shit and you're thinking about wrestling, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, these guys are fucking smart, I want to co-sign with them and tweet at us, that's great. Or if you think we suck, and I want to give these guys a piece of my mind, use hashtag tweet the table. We're going to read the best of the best of the best of the best of those right here. Or right now, we're going to read most of them, right? Because we need more of them. So, hashtag tweet the table. Everybody join in. Join the fun. And let's go through some of those. Tom, you ready for that?
Let's do it.
At Mr. Fourth Row on Twitter says,
hear from him.
Yeah, he says, Impact Wrestling really making all the references and hitting stories, factions, Bullet Club, for example, that it's almost like we're just watching a wrestling show with wrestlers we know.
I mean, again, look, maybe my, I think I've been burned too many times by the TNA/Impact thing, right? I think I've been burned by that too many times. And so that's just me. I'm just telling you from my point of view.
Boy that cried wolf.
Right. It's a little bit of that from me about Impact Wrestling. Also, it could be that of the 3 shows that we have mentioned so far, the Dynamite, WWE as a whole, and then Impact still doesn't have anyone around. There's no Thunderdome. There's no wrestlers in the crowd. So it's still that empty arena weirdness.
There's a Chris Sabin match going on.
But when I watch it, I just mentally check out, and it's bad.
Out. And it's weird. It's weird. At Theo75 says, Randy Orton and Fire? Talk about a boring segment. Perfect bathroom break. Hashtag tweet the table.
Who said that?
Theo.
Hey, well, just like how we hate the Young Bucks, he hates Randy Orton. So at least we're staying on brand.
But I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, Randy Orton, Fire, Bray Wyatt. I mean, he's capturing the same attitude we had here towards that when we did our TLC picks. This is the Randy Orton character suddenly out of nowhere was like, oh, man, this guy's doing amazing things. And then right when we were saying that, they were like, okay, but stop it. No more of the dark, twisted, weird stuff. Like, just go with Bray Wyatt and be dark and twisted with no reference or rhyme or reason for it.
And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but it's repetitive. It's, again, this week it's a 10-minute promo. Next week it's a 10-minute promo. The week after that we do something, but it's kind of the same beat. And it's just like, subtleties make me miss some things. Don't make it so overt and in my face. That's, work at that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. One more here. At The Ultimate One says, so the Garganos, Theory, and Hartwell are now called The Way? Okay, let's see where this goes. Hashtag tweet the table. I mean, yeah. We talked about this. Gargano's going to be great in this role. I just don't know if this is going to be great for Hartwell and Theory, right? I just don't know.
I'm positive and patient. I liked what I saw. I liked they both did the high five without looking to show how in sync they were on this week's NXT. I'm not giving up, and I'm not even having any ill feelings towards the angle. But like you said, I just think we're going to come out saying, well, Gargano's awesome, right? And then, well, we knew that ahead of time.
Yeah. So that was Tweet the Tables. I mean, we'll cut it off there because we got 3 emails that we need to get into. But that's a reminder for you to use hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter, right? Spelled very simply, Tweet the Table. All right, I had these emails up, and then they just went down, and I pulled them back up, and my internet is taking its sweet time. So, Tom, fill us in with some fun wrestling.
So NXT, I was really excited about this week's NXT. I like Carrion Cross coming out. How let's get into that just a little bit while the internet over there is Bruce buffering. Carrion Cross. What do you feel about him? Because I like him, but I almost feel like he may be too small to be this dominant, powerful figure. I don't think he's as strong as he should be. Like Goldberg's do what he's trying to do, and he's not that, to me at least.
Well, yeah, I think they should lean a little harder on the weird, dark stuff if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know that he's the guy that's going to carry it. I don't know that the charisma's there for me, right? Like, I don't know that he's going to attach as well. Like, if we go up to main roster, I don't know that this gets over very well.
Well, I think, as I've been saying this whole episode and even last week, so I apologize, but make his entrances more special for the events that call for it. I don't think random NXTs need Scarlett to do all the theatrics, because as you mentioned, if you go up to the main roster and I see that every Monday or every Friday in 5 weeks time, I'm fucking out. Like my mind is like, okay, cool. But if you
got 5 minutes before this.
Right. But if you hit it every so often when it matters at big events or big stories, okay. And so I hope they go that route more than the, hey, isn't it cool? Look at the route. Yeah, the demon Finn Balor route. Right.
All right. Emails are up. Internet is working. Let's jump into, we got 3 emails this week, Tom. And we're going to kick off with one from a long time friend of the show, from Katie, the first lady.
Yeah. Right? Love it.
All right. She says, well, hello, boys. It's been a minute. I hope you guys got some of the tweets about war games. Mm-hmm. I'm glad the emails are back because I think now is as good a time as any to come back. This year has not been the best for everyone, and especially hurts when it affects you personally. As you may have heard, I lost my father in October due to a heart attack. And it's been difficult, obviously. But I've been doing my best to be strong and move forward. One of the reasons is, of course, is wrestling, specifically WWE, because my dad is the reason why I became a fan. It was our thing. So that will never change, even though every week we may change our channel because some of the stupidity, but I digress. Every time I watch now, I can hear what he would have to say about a match, a wrestler, and it makes me smile. Of course, you guys keep me going every week, and I appreciate you let me pay a little tribute to him. I pray that you and everyone will have a much better 2021 and beyond. Much love as always. Later, Katie, the first lady.
Well, that was really touching.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too much into it because I think she said everything that needed to be said. I will say, though, Katie, thank you very much for allowing us to be in your pro wrestling bubble. It really means a lot to us. Obviously, that news was very sad earlier this year.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that pro wrestling is your escape. That's what it is for me. And even though I rant and rave and blah, 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 it's all frivolous nonsense. None of this is getting me that riled up. I just do it because I'm emotionally immature. But we appreciate that we are in your bubble of pro wrestling fandom. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Thank you, Katie. All right, we will read this one from John Batten. # be like John Batten and email the show, tableshow@gmail.com. He says, as reported on various wrestling news sites, Sting isn't going to be taking any bumps in his role in AEW. So if he is regulated to the role of beating up heels to save a popular babyface, the Dark Order, Eddie Kingston's Friendship Bunch, Team Taz, and the Inner Circle need more heat. With that in mind, what do you think of Jungle Boy's ring gear?
By the way, we didn't mention that. One of my favorite segments on Dynamite was they ran a segment, a vignette on Jurassic Express, and FTR took the microphones away from the commentators and were like, what, this is the bullshit you think is going to happen? Not on our watch. We're FTR. Dude, I like that a lot.
I like that because he was like, this is how I feed my family. Do you understand me? He was like mad.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great segment. And I love that, like, that was another Shivani moment where he's like, hey, whoa, hey. Yeah. We're not.
Like, it's not us. Here, man. We're not doing this. Yeah.
These guys are lunatics.
Well, the FTR, the comedy bullshit isn't going to be happening on our watch. I like that's a character that I can understand and either get behind or hate, regardless of what side you're on. I like that. Jungle Boy's gear, a little too small, but hey, he's got the body for it. I don't. I couldn't wear it. And Sting, as I mentioned, Arn Anderson does the same thing where he's been a little physical where he's like taking, I think, a punch or a chair shot to the stomach. But the only time Arn Anderson really gets physical is he gives someone the DDT and then he rolls out. If you do Sting the same way where he helps Darby Allin as the father figure, all for it.
Like he can do some scorpion, leg locks. He can do some, death drops. He can,
Yeah. Hit people with the bat. That's all fine. Again, but I want him to be in the mentor role, not this weird, active wrestler, but not active wrestler thing.
All right, our third and final email.
Oh, God, you're getting geared up. Is it happening?
No, hold on. This is not, no. This is just as good.
Okay, all right.
What up, bitches and snitches? It's your old pal, buddy, friend, amigo, compadre, and Freund. Ultimate One here checking in for this week. So let's slide, slippity slide. If you're living in the city, it's do or die. So come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. All right. This week, in lieu of Fünf Fragen, I got some good old WCW Fünf Was ist Wissen.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm excited about it.
It's 5 what ifs.
Oh, okay.
Was ist wenn? I think I might have said it wrong. Anyway, fuck it.
Nailed it.
Don't fact check.
Nailed it.
1. What if WCW survived, meaning Bischoff manages to buy it and AOL Time Warner doesn't give it the axe?
Mm-hmm. I think it turns into TNA. I think Jeff Jarrett's influence and Vince Russo's influence. Now, that's not to say it wouldn't have been awesome, because then on the platform of TNT, the X division isn't seen on Fox Sports regional, whatever. It's seen on TNT. So then the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, the Christopher Daniels get skyrocketed to the moon. I think it, but eventually I think.
Do you
Jeff
think it always
Jarrett
plays noticeable second fiddle to WWF?
Yeah. I don't think
WWE,
there's
whatever.
Now, but maybe, right? Because AJ Styles, when Kurt Angle left WWE, it wasn't because of competition. It was because he was burnt out at WWE. If there was WCW and Kurt Angle goes to WCW, that's a way bigger move than TNA. So, the main event Mafia, if that's still a thing in WCW, that's on a bigger platform than TNA. But I don't think, I think then Vince does well, guess what? Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels are now a tag team. They not only reunited, now they're active wrestlers, something like that to combat it.
Well, remember, these are all WCW Fünf Was ist wenn, right? 5 what ifs for WCW. So 2.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that feels right. It's so hard to know because 20 years have passed or whatever, and yes, I think it was so bad. When I do these Spanish Announce Time Machine things, and we talked about in this one WCW 2000. If you go and you see the buy rates for these things, they were tanking hard. So yes, he bought it, but he would have had to rebuild it. And we've talked about, you said it would have been TNA. A problem we have with TNA, Impact, whatever, is this, what the fuck are you guys? You guys have been 17 things over your lifetime. That's the same thing that would have been happening in WCW. It was world-class championship wrestling, and then it was, this guy owned it, and this guy owned it, and then it was Saturday Night, and then it was Nitro, and then it would have been Bischoff's thing, and then he would have got tired of it and probably sold it, and it would have been somebody else. And I just think it would have had that Impact stink. I think it exists today in Impact Wrestling. I think AEW's come along and given us what we had then with this viable alternative that's on primetime main event where it's hot new and it doesn't feel like some rerun thing, but I think it just kind of exists as Impact Wrestling now.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. 2, what if Hogan doesn't leave the company even after Russo's promo at Bash at the Beach 2000?
Oh, I still think he retires. I don't think he gets reinvigorated at WrestleMania 18 with The Rock and does that second little stint. I think if he stays in WCW, he gets more, I don't give a shit. Maybe then he starts
he was running the show there. He had like all that fucking creative control.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Whatever the hell he wanted, yeah.
I think if he doesn't leave in 2000, then he just goes like, I'm done with pro wrestling. And then we kind of think of him different because that, 2003 run that he had at WrestleMania 18 and, the match at WrestleMania 19 with Vince McMahon, which is a personal favorite of mine, that little run from 18 to 19 reinvigorated hey, Hulk Hogan isn't that bad. If that never happens, then we just go like, meh.
Yeah, true that. 3, what if the then WCW/New Japan partnership actually elevated New Japan and gave it the same level of exposure they have today? I don't know that this Japan wrestling on United States television is ever really going to take hold. Now, I could be wrong because of growing demographics in the United States now, right? I mean, population has grown. Mm-hmm. There's a lot larger numbers of folks that may be into it, right? So there's going to be a market for it, right? The sheer number of people warrants like what we see. But I don't think it's ever going to rise to the level of even what an AEW's at.
Yeah. I think the emergence of New Japan Pro Wrestling wasn't because of the Japanese pro wrestlers. And that's not to say that Okada's not great or Evil's not great or Naito. I think all of those guys are amazing. But I think what catapulted New Japan Pro Wrestling into that, hey, let's check out Wrestle Kingdom 9 and all of that stuff was Finn Balor, the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and who am I mentioning here? North Americans. I know that some of them are Canadian, but these are American, I'm doing air quotes, but these are not Japanese pro wrestlers that are getting elevated. I think that's what got them to superstardom, not necessarily their own talent, homegrown talent. So if WCW and New Japan continues their relationship, I think it goes much of the same way as it did before, where it's like, well, that was cool, but I don't care that Ric Flair is wrestling Naito this week or, whatever it is.
Same thing. If they do it right now, if AEW and New Japan were together, like, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to be like, oh, look, here's somebody that like I've maybe heard the name, seen once. They're going to wrestle Kenny Omega. I'm going to be like, that person did an awesome match. But then they're gone. And I'm not going to chase them to New Japan because it's just not going to happen.
And TNA tried this a couple times. TNA did a special Japanese show where it was, I believe, Kurt Angle as champion taking on Tanahashi.
Were they the ones that always did that like world tournament where they had like people from all over the world? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it would be a good feature. Like, that's nice and neat, but I don't think it elevates New Japan to what they were without WCW.
I think they bank on too many casual fans might have traits of hardcore fans, right? I think they think like hardcore fans love the Japan stuff. Let's introduce that to the casual fans. Casual fans like this. What is this? I have no clue what the fuck this is.
Yeah, I'm into a story, and this was a great 10-minute match, but in 2 weeks, I'm not going to remember it.
Right. I don't remember that guy's name. You keep saying it, and I don't remember it. Number 4. What if WCW actually had a women's division? That's a really broad question. I don't know what to say to that.
If my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass when he hopped. Right.
Yeah, So, like, if they had a women's division, I think it would have been cool. One thing that gets lost, and you had mentioned this about Bayley and Sasha Banks bringing women's pro wrestling to the forefront of changing it from bra and panties to actually respectable pro wrestling women's matches. They were a huge part of that. The 4 Horsewomen are definitely iconic in that regard. But let's not forget that Gail Kim was doing that in TNA. ODB was doing that in TNA.
Yeah.
There were women matches that were happening at this kind of rate before the 4 Horsewomen got into WWE.
Well, that's what I mean with them. And we're going off this offshoot on WCW, but back to them was like, yeah, they were big. The 4 Horsewomen were big, and that's what everybody focused in on, and that was during the time of change. There are tons of women who could have been in that PC that are athletic freaks that have some personality that could have been in that role. Nobody said, we're changing women's wrestling because you got to check out this girl Charlotte and what she's doing, and you can't dress her up in a bra and panties. No, she's too legitimate, so change the sport. They were the players in place when the sport was changing, right? We'll call it quote-unquote sport, but you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that. And so you back to this, like if there was a women's division, we would have got more great women's wrestling, but I don't know if they had the best storytelling
to get
in that
over.
regard. Like the NWO took WCW by storm, but I don't know if there was a whole lot of great writing and storytelling going on in WCW. You know what I mean? Everything else was kind of shit.
Yeah,
and
like,
even the NWO storytelling was kind of shit.
Yeah, it was NWO, Sting, DDP, Booker T, Goldberg, and then.
Well, there was never any real stories. It was just like, we're fighting now, NWO, and like they spray painted him. Now, all right, well, I'm going to beat him up, and now we're finally going to team up against the NWO. I mean, that was the gist of most of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, final one. What if Chris Jericho had joined the New World Order? I don't know that it would have been a good fit, especially then.
Yeah, he would have been another guy. He would have been the non-flexing Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, he'd have been Scott Norton, Buff Bagwell. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would have just been in the background.
Yep. That was all centered around three guys that had 600 people behind them. It was the Outsiders and Hulk Hogan, and then Macho Man as a Psycho, which I will still die on this hill. Macho Man joining the NWO was the biggest mistake in the NWO storytelling. It was Macho Man who took the fucking leg drop from Hogan. Why he should have, as much as Sting, who got duped by the fake Sting, and I love that storyline. Like I said, the War Games to Stargate is one of the best storylines of all time. But Macho Man should have also been on the front lines of fuck this entity, fuck the NWO. I'm here. My only purpose, I will die making sure that the NWO burns to the ground. Once he joined the NWO, in my book, that's when they jumped the shark. And that's when it became like, oh, then just anyone fucking does it. Cool.
Plus just the feud, the Hogan Macho feud, like it all fit too well to just be,
Yeah, and it made no sense why there was always this friction in the NWO between Macho Man and Hogan, which I guess on the surface level made sense, but then it just muddied the waters of like, well, do I like Macho Man or do I not? Because he's beating up Hogan, who I don't like, but then he is also beating up WCW guys who I also don't like. So what the fuck are we doing here? You know, like, yeah, I was out. I was not interested after Macho Man joined the NWO. I was like, that's enough for me.
As always, keep doing what yous guys doing, because yous guys do it so well. Ultimate out.
That was great. It was
P.S.
Ah, God.
I would have sent $1, but this COVID-19 is forcing me to improve my German through Duolingo, but I got you on the next go-round.
No, you said it. I got a message that said you would send $1. I'll find it.
I felt like you said this before.
Yeah, I got a message that said, I'll send $1 this time. Hold on.
What he's referencing there is, we would like you to send us $1. If you like this episode and you want to support this podcast, $1 is nothing to you. And you go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net, you click on the donate link right at the top. It says donate. You click there, it takes you right to our PayPal. You just, $1. Or if you feel like more, great. But if you like this, show us some love. Send us $1. What's a Snickers bar to you, right?
Ultimate One, I've got the dirt on you. I got the messages, pal. You owe us $1. Actually, you owe us $2 now for lying. $2.
Look at the transcripts.
Yeah, we got the transcripts. We want $2 now for interest.
Google saves everything, Ultimate One. You fucked up. Google saves everything, Ultimate One. Oh, we've got the you owe us like at least $17 now.
Yeah, look at this. I'm going to show it real quick if you're watching the YouTube. Boop, there it is.
Oh! Somebody's going to pause that and secrets are out. Secrets are out. Yeah, well, okay. Email the show. tableshow@gmail.com. Send us $1. PayPal, tableshow@gmail.com. Hashtag tweet the table on the Twitter. SpanishAnnounceTable.net for all the updates. TikTok at Spanish Announce Table. Right? Twitter at Table Show. Yeah. What else, Tom?
Hey, next week is going to be Christmas, so get ready for the holidays. We'll probably do our wish list, right? Isn't next week Christmas?
Wow, it's like 8 days away or something like that.
Yeah,
Do
so
some
next
shopping.
week,
didn't
next
realize.
week we can do our wish list as we usually do, and then talk to you about favorite Christmas things.
Just randomly, if you'd say, you were missing something in your life, what would it be? If something like if you were going to go to Walmart.
If I was missing something in my life, what would
Yeah,
it be?
uh-huh.
Acceptance, love.
Something I could buy at Walmart.
Oh, a hooker. I think that's in the.
empty. It's gonna be
well,
a
no, I
cold
think
Christmas for Tom.
No, I think
gonna
that's
be
in
a
the. I think that's in the Bed Bath and Beyond section. The Beyond section of Bed Bath and Beyond. I think that's where you get the hookers.
It's beyond that, right?
Yeah.
That's where I always get them from.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Email the show. Don't screw around. Email the show. Tweet the table.
Don't screw around.
Help us. We got to create
PSA.
content. We need your questions because we got to keep creating this content so you guys will view it and like it. So you know what I mean? And we need your help. So help us out. Until
We're
next
trying to
week.
outsource this. We're trying to outsource the decision making here. Just tell us what to do.
The Spanish announce table.